about the incident last night that occurred out on the bridge. About 6 o'clock last night, we received some information that there were numerous protesters that were up on the bridge and acting very aggressively towards the officers.
So what's happened is 3 weeks now they said they're going to clear this bridge. They say they have the blockade here for our safety because the bridge is unsafe. If the bridge is unsafe, the blockade should be on the south. They didn't uphold their end of the deal. We're clearing the bridge.
Help him push!
Yep.
Not the face.
Incoming!
There was several explosions that were, I know one for sure that was on the south side of the bridge. We're not sure where that came from.
Hands up!
Was anyone posing any threats to them? Was anyone crossing the barbed wire, the barricade at that time?
Not at all.
The number one thing has still been the safety for everybody, and some of the actions that were taken last night were just for that purpose alone.
On the bridge, I think what she described was there was a truck on the bridge, and the police kind of intentionally left that truck on the bridge so that ambulances couldn't get back and forth, and people can't drive and get in and out of the area. So not only are people are getting intentionally hurt, but they can't get the kind of medical service that they need in a timely fashion.
Could you tell us why the vehicles are still on the bridge? The burnout vehicles. Well, the vehicles are there just because of the safety. Everything since the October 27th and the fire on the bridge, the bridge is still not safe. It has never been deemed to be safe by the Department of Transportation.
And part of Sophia's prognosis is harmed by the fact that it took 6 to 8 hours before she could actually have surgery, and time is of the essence, and they like to have this surgery happen within a few hours. So that's very, very upsetting that they still leave that truck there on the bridge and not letting ambulances come in and out of the site is a human rights violation as far as I can see.
What was she hit with?
She was hit with a grenade.
This is a little bit what we picked up from the barricade. We got an instantaneous blast, one that's already been blasted, and we have a full one that they pulled the pin and they didn't even cut the tape. That's an act of terrorism right there.
Basically, they said this was just, they were very aggressive in their actions and what they were doing.
She described it a little bit, but they were trying to figure out a way of getting the car off the bridge so that ambulances could get in and out. And they were shot with these high-pressure water cannons in 20-degree temperature. A lot of people had hypothermia. I understand maybe as much as 100 people had hypothermia. My daughter was shot numerous times with bullets. She's got bullet wounds all over her body. Rubber bullets, plastic bullets. I don't know if they're actually rubber. They've made up some device that's less than lethal, but can maim somebody. The police officers apparently were shooting directly at people's faces and trying to hit the men in the groin. Sophia was hit in the groin, but she was dressed in such a manner that you couldn't really tell if she was a man or a woman, but they were intentionally trying to hit men in the groin with bullets. And they threw a grenade right at her. The grenade exploded right in her arm.
I had witnessed the gal get hit with a concussion grenade. She was flinching from it after being hit directly, and within seconds it had blown up or shattered right in front of her. And the shrapnel, you could see like the clothes just ripple from her. You could see like her arm kind of tense out. And from there, I tensed up. I was already going through shock and hypothermia myself, and I didn't know how to maintain that type of stress. It was very traumatic, and I haven't been able to deal with it since.
And then we can expect that, and we don't know that, we don't believe that people are just going to try to come up here and cause problems. That's what I'm getting at. And I think that's how we, both your side and our side.
What else has she told you?
What else has she told me? I mean, she's told me that the police are trying to hurt people. They're not trying to control the situation. They're not trying to arrest people. They're trying to hurt people. Intentionally, purposefully hurt people. They're doing things that they don't care. Someone could die easily.
Officer in that situation to make sure that things stay safe and everybody is reacting, you know, to we use very good control and restraint for the things that were being thrown at the officers at the time.
What next steps are you planning to take in response to this?
I don't know yet. I mean, I made a complaint to the FBI last night. I've talked to the Justice Department, and they're doing an investigation. I certainly plan on having all of her clothing tested. There was some news reporting out there that was false, that the protesters attacked her, you know, accidentally, some propane. That was just nonsensical reporting. The surgeon said he pulled shrapnel out of her arm, so it's pretty clear that there was a grenade that caused this, and not something else, not a propane fire, as the Morton County chief said. So, you know, I'm going to take every possible step that I can, and, you know, it's now my fight too. So I'm going to do everything I can to help support the cause that she believes so strongly in.
What was it like to get that call?
Chief or Sheriff, there's reports of people hospitalized or checked into, admitted to hospitals locally.
We don't have any reports of that.
Hi, my name is Vanessa, and I'm a medic here at a Chedisquam, Maine medic tent. Last night at the action, there were a lot of traumatic injuries that had to be transported to the hospital. Our guess right now is anywhere from 20 to 30. Some of them were very severe. There were a lot of head traumas and body traumas from the rubber bullets. It looked like the police were actually trying to target heads and lower body. We had an awful lot of leg injuries and arm injuries. There were a lot of people who had to be transported. We are still today seeing residual effects from contusions to that are pretty severe, to a lot of respiratory and a lot of ear problems from the flashbangs and concussion grenades that were going off. We did have a gentleman that had a cardiac episode twice, and I treated him. We had one seizure, and I was on scene for that. It was very traumatic. We had a mass casualty incident, which even the Standing Rock and some of the Bismarck EMS that were here, that were phenomenal and stood by us and helped, they said that they had never seen anything like this, and they did not realize that this was what it was like when Morton County unleashed on us. So they were not aware of the injuries that were happening. They were just seeing the few, but last night by far was, I'm pretty sure, the worst it had been, and we transported more patients than we ever had.
There's one thing you would like Morton County to know. What would that be?
Stop being stupid. There's no sense in what you're doing. Peaceful, prayerful people. Even if they're yelling and screaming, they're not shooting, they're not hurting you. They're there protecting the water. Just stop. What you're doing is beyond wrong. You're violating civil rights. You're violating international laws. You've lost control.
Our presence will